So I had done a job in Taiwan in the wintertime, and I had come back in the summertime to do a different job. Of course, the agent there was the same agent, so driving around. And in Taiwan, you see all these, in the summertime, I saw there was dogs, street dogs, everywhere, all over the place, just roaming free. It's crazy. And I had never noticed that on my previous trips, which had been in the wintertime. So I asked the agent, Lewis, what the hell was going on? How come all these dogs are roaming free? And he laughed his ass off, laughing. And he said, Mr. Christ, you see, Taiwan people think a dog very good for staying warm in winter. I thought, well, you know, a self-entitled white guy thinks to myself, oh, well, that makes sense. You know, you cuddle up with your dog and stay warm in bed. That's kind of nice. No, Mr. Chris. We eat dog in winter. Next time you come in winter, we pick a dog and eat. So basically what they were doing was during the summer, they'd let these dogs go feral, just send them out to pasture, and then they'd come and cultivate them in the wintertime for keeping themselves warm. Heartwarming story, I know. Well, it goes to show that we're all just people. We got to do what we got to do, and we got our little quirks. We're all the same. Soft, juicy bags of meat and guts. Now, for authenticity, we're going to use the farmer wrench here, and we're also going to make sure it goes in nice and sideways. And this is the hard ox, hard as a coffin nail to drill. So it should be fun to tap. There we go. It's going in straight as an arrow. I just got my safety squints on here. I'm actually gonna go get some safety glasses. No more safety important rule than wearing your safety glasses, so that when you make a dunderheaded mistake and lose an arm, at least the safety guy can see you got safety glasses on. Fucking joke. So the first thing we're going to do here is enact a progressive escalation, and always do the easiest thing first, right? Which never works, but this is YouTube, so it is going to work. Just take a cold chisel or a center punch or whatever and try and back it out. See, it's working there, so that's no good. For our purposes, we want that not to come out. So what we can do to make sure that doesn't come out is we'll just peen over little chunks there. Okay, there we go. Then what we want to do is make this flat, nice and flat. So what I got here is from an electronics supply house, Adafruit, and these are carbide printed circuit board drills. Now, printed circuit boards, of course, are fiberglass, and you can imagine they go through the tiny little drills. So this is carbide, and carbide is the paragon of materials. It cuts pretty much anything ferrous. And because these are electronic supplies, they're cheap. Electronic stuff is dirt cheap. So anytime that we can take something from the electronics industry and mold it to our own devices is it's going to be way cheaper than going to a Thomas Skinner and Sons or somebody like that and actually buying a machining tool. Now, unfortunately, I don't get to say this very often, but this is a good, cheap tool for mainland China. It's like, seriously, $2. Now, there's some debate, in my mind at least, as to whether carbide actually needs any lubricant, which I don't think it does, because it doesn't wet very well, and nothing really sticks to it too bad. However, it probably could use some cooling. So, put a little Astroglide on there, a little dabble do ya. And we're going to run this at about warp 6. And we're pecking. Now this step isn't really necessary, but it's going to help us out in the long run. because this, turn that drive off. Now this will give, obviously this is a 1.1 millimeter PCB drill, and it's not as big as that chisel in the web there. However, it hopefully will help us out a little bit. Now this is a stub length drill, and it's going to be nice and stiff, so we should stay on target even if we didn't have this. But I haven't used this little tiny twist drill yet, so I wanted to try it out. If you don't have a tapper rotor, then this is the way to go. Especially on the periphery, it's going to be an interrupted cut as it goes through those flutes. We want to make sure we don't harden this tap any more than it already is. Now there's some conjecture as to whether peck drilling is leaving a hardened surface, but well, I guess it doesn't really matter, because you're just pecking to break the chip, and as you can see, these chips are already broken. And the problem with tungsten carbide is it's really brittle. It's hard as a coffin nail, but brittle. So it's not very good at necessarily interrupted cuts or shock. Oh, there we go. And I think we're cooked on that one. Yeah, we're cooked. We actually drilled out quite a lot of it, but I think what happened was some of those chowdery flute bits got in there and broke off and bound up the bit. So there's the bit there. She has obviously drilled her last. That's the way it goes sometimes. You're the fuck-e and sometimes you're the fuck-or. This time we were the E. Well, onwards and outwards. What are we going to do now? So here we have a tungsten carbide tipped masonry bit. We're going to dress that a little bit and give that a try. You can tell it's a very high quality bit because it's got hot dip galvanizing on it. That is so cheap, it's not even tungsten carbide. It's like a little nugget of high-speed steel. It will won't even touch the hard ox. Why that was in my toolbox, I have no idea. Well, fortuitously for my Pulte-Fé, I don't have any more carbide tipped drill bits in my toolbox. However, I do have carbide burrs. So we're going to give this a try with a carbide burr. And these are just what you put in die grinders. Get some nice little curls out of there, surprisingly. I didn't think this would actually work. But if you don't try, you don't know. That actually works like a hot damn. Now we're getting to the end because I see some hot chips coming out there now. And we're through. And these things are horrible, horrible. They get everywhere, especially on your wife's white couch. She'll sit down to to a Grey's Anatomy after the little one is asleep, and you'll never hear the end of it. Not that I'd know from experience. Sorry about the whistle there. I sometimes forget to turn that drive off. What you're hearing is the pulse width modulated carrier frequency, which is, I don't know, 6 kilohertz. That's that high-pitched whistle you hear. We're just going to chowder the rest of that bit up. There we go. Okay, there we have it. Hole salvaged. So there you go, carbide burr to the rescue. When life gives you limes, you make yourself some tequila shots. There is the hole there. Now there's also a tool you can buy that fits inside the flutes. It's got these little tangs that go inside the flutes, and it's supposed to be able to remove the broken taps. I've never had any luck with them. As far as I'm concerned, they're a total waste of money. But if you have a differing opinion on those tools, please put it down below. And of course, the foolproof way to get rid of a tap is to use a tapper rotor, which just sends pulses of electricity in there to vaporize the tap. Chances are, though, if you're watching me, you're not going to have access to one of those things. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep your stick on the ice.